Bronson, you have been gone for a long, long time. It's only been like a month, but it feels like years.
Yeah, I've been gone for a long time.
It's good to have you back, man.
It's good to be back.
It's been a minute. Where have you been?
The world. I've been from ocean to ocean, honestly. NOLA, Florida.
How was the Super
Hawaii. Bowl? The Super Bowl was cool. There's like tons of events going on. So it's just event.
A lot of guys are going, so a lot of former players do show up. And they're showing up to reconnect? Is it almost like a high school reunion in some ways?
Oh, yeah.
You're seeing all your boys you haven't seen for a number of years, former teammates.
You could have a plan of, I'm going to go to this, and this. Next minute, you're getting invited to this, and this. And you have no idea how it all started. But then all of a sudden, you find yourself in some incredible rooms. Who
was the coolest person that you ran into while at the Super Bowl? Was there somebody that you ran into that you hadn't seen for a while, or a big name that you're able to talk to?
Player or something. You know, she's not a player, but it was pretty awesome. Like, she did a private concert to help raise money for the fight against child sex trafficking with LJN. Lauren Daigle, she's a singer, and it was pretty incredible. It was awesome. It was Demario Davis's event. Oh, we went and visited a hospital, Manning International Hospital. I can't remember, but the Mannings, like, they grew up there. Like, the dad still lives there, and so we went with baskets of hope and took baskets to the kids.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on your Instagram.
That was cool. And there were former players there. Sean Payton and Tony Dungy were there. So, yeah, it was awesome. There's always good business stuff. There's always good, like, opportunities to give back.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Helping out, where you can.
Yeah.
Also makes you feel good.
It does make you feel good.
Yeah, helping people.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Because they're the people that we were seeing, the parents and the kids, they had been in there for like months, just in the hospital. Like, they don't leave. So
it's rough.
Yeah, it was good to go in there and visit, talk.
That's neat. So do a lot of people show up just for the pregame, the networking type events, or are most of these guys, the former NFL guys, are they showing up to actually go to the game as well?
All of it, honestly, what you just said. But a lot of the former players, they don't go to the game. So the players just show up for the week and then leave before. They'd rather go for all the business events and different things and then just go home and watch it with their families. That's kind of what I did. You just never know who you're going to meet there. That's what's fun about it too. Because football spans all cultures, all, business avenues. It's incredible, right? And so you just never know. You just never know who's going to be there and who you're running into or talk to.
It's a common thread.
Yeah.
Shared by many. Connects us all.
Yeah. One of the greatest networking events of the year.
Networking events are great. What we do here at Harris Investment Group, we have the opportunity to really help a lot of people. Our strategy benefits many, many people. No matter your walk in life, if you're interested in investing, we have something for you. And that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit with our special guest here, Kyle Turner. Your friend Kyle, welcome back to the show.
Great to be back.
This is the HIG Podcast. I'm MattyP. I'm here with your host, Bronson Kaufusi.
What's up, everybody?
And we're stoked to have you here, Kyle. We're broadcasting. What is this? It's not even broadcasting. We're sitting.
Recording.
We're sitting in chairs in the Harris Investment Center in Provo, Utah. 7th floor. Just got done with another snowstorm, and I see some blue skies. It took me 2 hours to get home last night.
Ouch.
I live in Draper, work in Provo. 2 hours.
It was icy.
It was icy. There was a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Well, and we haven't had snow for so long. In lots of ways, it was like the first snowstorm of the year because we've forgotten, because the last one was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's the first snow of the year, basically.
Yeah, it's like, welcome back again.
Which is weird because it snowed in Florida. When I was down there the week before, there was snow on the beaches.
Oh, I actually saw a picture.
On the west side of Florida. Yeah, I was like, they got more snow than us. First time ever.
It's like, I don't know if this was a true article, but I saw something that came out that said that people need to watch for falling iguanas in Florida because it's so cold, the iguanas are freezing and just falling out of trees.
I saw a video of an iguana falling out of a tree. That's a real thing. Yeah, true. Anyway, we're here with Kyle today. We're talking about something really important, something that is beneficial to anybody who's looking to invest, pretty much, or anybody who is investing. We're going to talk about the magical art of a portfolio review. So what is a portfolio review, Kyle?
That is a great question. The whole idea of a portfolio review is planning ahead. It's seeing where you're at today, where you're trying to go, and make a plan for how we can get there. So it's similar, Bronson, I'd assume to you, it's pre-game before these big football games. You go and do your walkthroughs. You want to be dialed in, know what you're going to do. And it's the whole idea of muscle memory. It's planning ahead. It's the idea that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so we want to plan ahead so that we know what we're going to do when things happen. And we're being proactive instead of reactive. So back in college, when I ran track at BYU for a little bit, and I ran hurdles. And so there's these 42-inch barriers that if you don't perfectly clear it, it's going to hit you in the shin. It's not going to feel great, and your time's not going to be good as well. And so before our races, we'd go into a dark place. We'd sit there in silence, and we'd just imagine, and we'd visualize these hurdles and perfectly clearing it every time. And the times that I'd go ahead and I'd plan and I'd run that race in my mind, I'd perform so much better than when we went out and just we were just winging it. And so it's a similar idea to this. It's the idea with a portfolio review is we want to see where you're at, and we want to make that plan so that we can execute and get to that ending goal as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so valuable to be able to be prepared before you go out there, because sometimes you never know. Most of the time you face things that you're not planned for, but you've touched on maybe just slightly, and then you're way farther ahead than if you hadn't planned for it at all. So, this time of year too is just like a perfect time for portfolio review, and especially on the investing side, right?
Yeah, on the investing side, it's critical. And a big part of what we help people with is tax efficiency. So it's a lot easier to be tax efficient if we can start working earlier in the year versus later in the year. The options that you have when you start working on some of that in December are a lot less than if you start working on in January, February, and March in planning ahead. And so when we sit down and we look at somebody's situation, it's a lot easier to try and create a game plan and a strategy for the rest of the year, early in the year versus later in the year. It gets a lot easier.
So proactive versus reactive.
Exactly, proactive. So proactively planning. So it's sometimes people don't necessarily know how much tax liability they could have for the year, but we have a lot more options in some of the strategies that we can employ if we start working on them sooner. Some of the strategies that we help people with, they incorporate time requirements. And so just the more time we have, the more time is on our side, the better it's going to be for everybody.
I think about the taxes that I owe much more in December or November, and by that time it's too late. Well, generally it's too late. So planning ahead, proactive approach, I like that.
Yep, so that's a big part of it. So the reason we're talking about this today is because it is easier to plan today and plan for the future, and especially on the tax side as well, it can help out quite a bit. And so in the portfolio review, what we do is we want to understand your situation. So your current real estate holdings, your HIG holdings, and then how we can make them as efficient as possible. If we're going to invest our money, we want to make sure our money's working as hard for us as possible. And that comes on the investment side, but also on the tax side as well.
So one question I have, just because you're doing so many of these, you see a lot. I know people come to us all the time with a few things. I know one of the biggest things is, hey, I'm going to have an exit. I'm going to experience a large taxable event. And so I know that's one of them. But what are some deficiencies that you see in different portfolios? Just if you were to cast a broad net out there and say, oh yeah, I see this a lot. Maybe they have some real estate that just isn't performing. And what area is that if it's not performing? Or, you know what I mean? Like, is there something that you see a lot that you're kind of like, man, if people just knew this, that would be helpful?
All the time. So one of my favorite metrics to look at, and I do this for myself personally, and that's what I love about my job. It's the things that we employ with our investors are things that I can use myself because they're tried and true and effective strategies. But one metric that we want to look at is what is somebody's return on equity. So if somebody goes and buys a property 5 years ago, real estate has done really well. It's Bronson, I'm sure you've seen the price of homes. You look at where you live right now, what it was valued at 5 years ago versus today. It's probably gone up a fair amount in value. Yeah. Well, the return, if that was an investment that you're making today versus 5 years ago, the rental income on the property hasn't kept up with the rate of equity increase in the property. So if you just look at how much equity or how much cash flow you'd have on that property as a rental currently versus how much equity you have in it, that money that's sitting in that property isn't working very hard for you currently. And so for me, this is a huge beneficial point. It's a couple years ago, I met with Jason, and Jason sat me down and he ran me through the same process. I started buying rental properties in 2014. Hindsight being 2020, great time to start buying rental properties. I didn't know that at the time. Everything felt really expensive, where it still feels really expensive today. But I built up and accumulated a number of properties. And so I went and met with Jason. Jason sat me down and he ran me through that same process. Looking at my properties, looking at what my return on the equity in that properties were, and then just seeing what can we do to make those properties more efficient. So for me, it involved, maybe it makes sense to sell a property here and reallocate those funds into a better asset where I can re-leverage the funds I have to improve my cash flow. I can improve the amount of principal reduction I have per month. I can also improve the potential for appreciation by controlling a larger asset, but also on the tax efficiency side, I can have more tax benefit that could come from new assets. But also other strategies outside of even just selling. It's looking at, does it make sense to have a cash out refinance on the property, to refinance a property, to pay off other debt? And so there's a bunch of different things that we can look at in evaluating that portfolio to see what will make it the most efficient. But for myself personally, it's been a huge value add, and it's something that I look at myself constantly. It's where are my properties at today, and how can I make them perform as efficiently as possible?
Wow, that's huge. It's taking what you do and just sharpening it. Like, because I feel like there's a lot of people that get into real estate and, it's great. They're in it. They own something, but then there's just a whole new world out there of different options. And I feel like, that's probably the biggest thing I've learned, when I started investing in real estate was there's a lot that I don't know. And so it's nice to be able to sit down and with someone and go through the portfolio, see what's going on, just like what Jason did with you. And now you're doing it with so many people. I think that's amazing.
A whole world of options. And for those of you who don't know, Kyle, he has a lot of experience in investing. I actually really like talking to Kyle on a one-on-one basis because his experience extends much further back than just your time here at Harris Investment Group. You've been investing for how long? 14 years?
So buying rental property since 2014.
Since 2014.
Stock market, though, you've been in there for a while, too, as a financial planner.
Yeah, so
in your past life.
I started buying mutual funds and stocks early in college. My parents would run me through different competitions with my siblings, even as a teen, where they'd give us hypothetical money to invest. And so I've just been learning about investing for a long time, but applying it myself really since college. And then after college, buying rental properties. To where I've seen the benefit of investing and investing young and being efficient with how I am investing, and it's made a big difference. And so I'm passionate about it. It's something I'm a big fan of.
Well, even before you worked here, you worked at, it was Edward Jones, correct?
Correct.
And that's all investing. That's advising and looking at a lot of different options. So when we say that Kyle comes with a wealth of experience, he really does. And so like on a personal basis, for me, a one-on-one basis, Kyle just kind of knows the answers. And what's great about it is it's not like, okay, do this or do this. It's like, okay, here's option A, option B, option C. And my wife as well, I know she sat down with you, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago or something. And she left that meeting. I think it was you and Jason, maybe Jesse was there as well. Can't remember. But she was like, I feel a lot better about, where we're at, about options we have. And that says a lot. Like, there's a lot of unknown in the investing world, but you have your wizard staff. I think we talked about Lord of the Rings every time you're on. Either that or Harry Potter. But you have your investing wizard staff, and you're there to kind of like show us our options.
Well, I appreciate it, Matt, and I'll pay you later for the great endorsement.
Oh, that was free. That was from the heart. It's 100% truth right there, my friend.
It's something that we want to provide as a service to our investors, and so we're not charging people to sit down and meet with them. The whole idea is to give people a second opinion and to be part of somebody's executive suite. And so as you begin your investing journey, you want to surround yourself with key individuals. You want to have a good CPA, a good wealth manager. We just would want to be part of that executive team and just be somebody that can provide a second opinion. And so our goal, our strategy, our plan is, well, maybe we can give you some ideas that you can ask your CPA about, that you can ask your traditional wealth manager about, that you can ask if you have somebody who handles your finances more specifically, and just give you questions and things to ask them, because maybe some of these things they don't know about themselves, or maybe they're just focused more on their part of the equation. They're focused on just the tax side. They're not focused on the investment side, or just the investment side without the tax side. So if we can, we want to be somebody who can bring some synergy into that group.
Yeah, marry them together.
Yeah.
I like that.
One thing that comes to mind too is, real estate spans a lot, right? There's so much. It's huge. Commercial real estate, you have single family, you have condos, you have fourplexes, you have all these different things. And I don't know, one thing that came to mind when you were just talking was, like, I feel like a lot of people say, hey, this year I'm going to sell this condo or this unit or something. I mean, what are some of those people's options? Because I feel like a lot of people listening to this probably are facing that right now. And yeah, how would you walk them through that?
So what we do is we'd sit down, we'd look at your properties, we'd try and see what the debt balance is, the interest rate, primary mortgage, secondary mortgage, look at expenses, management cost for the property, and get a really good idea on the total operating expense. Lots of times, people don't realize there's a lot more expense for operating the property than they like to imagine. Because a lot of people don't factor in expenses that may only arise every couple years and not take those accurately over a multi-year period. And so a lot of people don't really factor in much for vacancy loss, for renovation, for repairs. And so when you really look at the true return that the property is providing, sometimes it's actually not as good as people think, to where if they can repurpose that equity into something else. So for example, we work a lot right now with truck stop opportunities. Mm-hmm. And so if it made sense for somebody to look at reallocating funds they have in a fourplex to hypothetically a truck stop, and just comparing to see, hey, does this make sense? Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And so sometimes the best thing that somebody can do is just keep what they're currently doing. And oftentimes we'll tell people that what you're currently doing, it's working pretty well for you. There's a couple things that you can do for efficiency, and we can provide some suggestions in terms of the debt side, if there's better loans they can look at, better ways they can operate and manage the property, different software integrations they can use. But sometimes it really is just what they're already doing is the best thing, but then sometimes it does make sense to make some adjustments.
Yeah, no, I love that, because people just want to be taken care of, and people just want to be stewarded, the right way. And if it makes sense to continue what they do, I mean, it's important that people know, like, hey, we're going to tell you the right thing to do, even if it doesn't, necessarily, bring us any, anything. And I find that a lot though with people. People just want to have others they can talk to. And I think that's so valuable.
We get so pigeonholed into what we do as well, what we think we know and what we think we don't know. I think it's perfectly okay to admit when you don't know something or you don't know all of everything. Even as an employee here who's surrounded by investments 24/7, I still have questions. I still have to approach Kyle. I still have to approach Jesse, Bronson. So you guys have the answers.
Well, and the thing is too, it's, maybe we know one or two things that you haven't tried yet, but there's things that we're also learning as well. And so that's the whole idea. It's, there's always something that we can learn from somebody else. And so that's why we go and we read books, we listen to podcasts, we go to events and conferences, because we want to learn the most that we can, because we don't know everything. And so we're all just trying to learn and grow and help each other out along the way.
Man, I love it.
I like it.
That's what people need.
Yeah. I'll admit it. I need it.
I need it too. Being down there at the Super Bowl and meeting a lot of different, players and people, a lot of the conversation was, oh man, I'm trying to figure this out, and I think that's one of the most valuable things you can have when you get into real estate investing is like exactly what you said, being willing to say, I just need help. Like, is there anyone that can help me? And I love it. I think that's the thing that really, for me, that's how I got in, honestly. And I started investing with Jason. I knew it was a good thing, but I just didn't know how to get into it. And I felt like there's so many people in that space, so many people, know?
Be curious, right?
Yeah.
Like learning is fun. Learning is a journey. Be curious. Be willing to learn.
Yeah. And you just take it with you the whole way. Because you could be owning, I mean, you talk to people all the time that have large real estate holdings. And it's like, okay, I need to figure out if there's something going on. Because year to year, I mean, things change, right? Like we were talking about that earlier. Like, you know, this certain investment in real estate, you know, it's just maybe it needs to be moved or we need to 1031 this thing out, go into something else. It just kind of depends.
Yes. Speaking of that, I have a scenario for you, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said, I've owned this property for 5 years. I'm looking at options. I've owned a property for 20 years. 2005 is when I bought it. My first question, if I were to approach you with this as to what to do for a portfolio review, would be, all right, how much is this going to cost me?
Well, easy answer, 0.
Oh, all right, I'm in. Okay, cool. All right. So now, all right, I approach you. We have this portfolio review with my property. What are my options? Like, what happens if I sell it? Let's say I sell it in 2 months, and let's just throw a number out there. Let's say it's just $200,000. I sell it for $200,000.
Well, I guess the first question I'd ask you is, what is your goal with the property? Do you like it? Is it sentimental? Do you want to keep the property? And so those all are going to impact what some suggestions could be with the property, because sometimes it is sentimental to people, and it also depends on what their life stage is. Are you trying to access those funds to cover other expenses that you personally have? And so are we looking at tax efficient ways to access cash that's in the property? Or are you looking strictly just for investment? And so that would be the first question, is start with the end in mind. What are your goals with the property? And then let's work backwards from there to see how we can get you to that end goal.
Nice. I like that. There's not one answer that fits everybody, right?
There's not one answer.
Let's say my goal is to be tax efficient. There's options, right?
There are options, and it really depends too on what you want to do with the tax efficiency. Like, if you want to get really aggressive with the property, well, there's ways that you could go, and I'm not saying you would, but you go move back into that property. You personally live in it for 2 years. You can sell it, and the whole gain on the property is likely going to be tax-free to you. So if that's something where you just want to access the cash, you don't want to pay anything in tax, maybe that could be an option. Another option, maybe we can look at putting a secondary note on the property to where you could access some cash where you didn't have to live in it. Still, that'd be you accessing some of the cash tax-free. But then if you really are just looking at true ROI and how I can re-leverage and put that money to work so it's working a little bit harder for me, well, what kind of 1031 tax-efficient exchanges to where we can take the equity that's in this property, we can sell it within a 1031 exchange. We don't have to pay the capital gain if we roll that into another property. So what other opportunities could exist? Well, maybe that is something with HIG, but maybe that is something on your own. Maybe there are other properties or opportunities you'd want to personally own. With HIG, one thing that we'd tell people is they shouldn't have all of their money with us. So just because people have other real estate that's not with HIG, that's great. We don't think they should have all their dollars with us anyway. So just because you have real estate, it doesn't mean that you need to put it with us personally. Now, if you wanted to and that made the most sense, that's great. But we don't think that you have to put all your funds with us. And so it's really just finding what's going to be best for you with that opportunity. But the main thing is just starting with what the goal would be on that asset.
Cool. I like that. So it's very much, what I like most is you don't have an answer in mind already. It's very much what I want to do with it. Starting off with the questions of, do I want to keep the property? Is it sentimental? Everybody has different needs. So it sounds like that's really what you're after, which is awesome. I'm in. I'll schedule my portfolio review.
Let's do it.
How do I do that?
Easy. So you can reach out to the HIG Podcast, or you can email me directly. It's Kyle at Harris Investment Group. And just reach out, let me know. I can send you over a link to my calendar. Part of it is I'll send you over a PDF that just has some of the information that we'd need to get a better understanding of your property and just some of the financial metrics with that property. And then we can work backwards from there once we have all that data. So data in gives us data out. So provide as much data to us that you can. We'll find a time that works with your schedule, and then we'll go from there, and we'll run that analysis and provide some suggestion and feedback.
Oh, let's go. I love it. People, seriously, everyone who's listening, you need to email Kyle, because he can really add a ton of value to you. Ton of value, especially if you're going to sell something. if you're looking to 1031 something, if you have some holdings that you're like, what do I do right here? I mean, we've all been there and we feel that way. And so it's just nice to have someone that you can reach out to. So I expect people to reach out to you, Kyle, here shortly.
Yeah, we're happy to help in whatever ways we can.
Oh, that's so great. Well, everyone, thanks so much for joining us today on the HIG Podcast. If you have questions that you want us to ask people that are on our podcast, send us an email, contact@harrisinvestmentgroup.com, and we'll get those questions answered for you. But until next time, talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kyle.
No problem.
And hope you find your dad.
He's coming. He's coming.
The HIG Podcast expresses the views of its participants and may not represent the views of Harris Investment Group. The views discussed are subject to change without notice. The HIG Podcast has no duty or obligation to update the information contained herein. It should not be assumed that past investment performance discussed is an indication of future results. Wherever there is the potential for profit, there is also the potential of loss. This is the very nature of investing. The HIG Podcast and its affiliates do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. The information shared on this podcast should not be construed as an offering, advisory service, or investment advice. Consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transaction. This podcast, including the information contained herein, is the sole property of Harris Investment Group and may not be copied, reproduced, republished, or posted in whole or in part without the prior written consent of Harris Investment Group.